Perry presenting.
Patrice Perry presenting.
Have like a drum roll or something.
Okay, we have 2 referrals this evening. The first is 22040 Town of Claremont Planning Board. Town of Claremont Planning Board, the applicant is Southwood Property LLC. The location is 726 Woods Road. It's a modification of a site plan within 500 feet of a county road, County Route 35, which is Woods Road here. Here. The existing zoning is LDR. Existing land use is residential, commercial, and ag. Surrounding is residential. The parcel is approximately 86.5 acres, and the structures are existing. The site plan review is required for modification to previously approved site plan that was approved in September of 2015. It was for an events venue called Southwood Estates. They're proposing to increase the number of guests, extend the time of events, and modify conditions. These include adding a fence for quote unquote a crowd control fence comprised of tiki torches and string lights that would be 10 feet from the ridge line. No swimming, fireworks, or barn fires would be permitted during events. For music, the speakers must be directed in the opposite direction from the Hudson River. This parcel overlooks the river here. The maximum number, the new noise must comply with the town zoning, town noise ordinance. The maximum events would be 10 per year, and they would be held May through October. The maximum number of people permitted to attend would be 200 per event, and the hours they may hold the events would be between 2 p.m. and 11 p.m. There's an existing gravel drive here from off of Woods Road, County Road. There's various parking areas all along here, a couple little smaller ones. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. There's 2 here, another here, a little tiny one here, and this larger one on this property line. There's also the pool is in this area. And there are 4 structures, a main house and 3 single-family residential structures. So we didn't find any countywide impact from this. I have a couple of comments regarding the site plan, that there are many notes that are on the site plan and labels that are all illegible. I can't really read them, and it looks like gravel, maybe existing gravel, but they're really difficult to read. I don't know if it was in the transmission to us, but suggesting that the applicant provide a clean plan for the town record and also forward a copy to the county planning board, that it include labeling all existing structures and the location of the tents, where the tents are typically situated. I believe that that's what these areas denote, but I'm not positive. Also, number 2, the parcel is located in Columbia County Ag District number 3, and it's also within 500 feet of parcels located in Ag District 3 that appear to have active ag uses, so an ag data statement is required. And the third regarding restrooms, identify if portable toilets are used during events and identify that location on the site plan.
Okay. I was just looking, I think that, yeah, it is hard to read it, but I think there is one spot here where it's a little imagination. It says portable toilets, but yeah,
Where's that?
in the middle.
This one?
Yeah.
Little dots?
Yeah. It looks like my handwriting kind of thing.
Okay, well,
When I'm up on scaffolding trying to make a note to myself.
Down by the pond.
Yeah. Okay, anybody got any questions or comments?
Nope.
If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Is this existing or is this all new? I mean,
it's existing. It's, they've been holding events and they just wanted to modify the conditions. It already had received site plan approval. It was, from the town. We received it in 2015. So I don't know, what perpetuated the request for changes in the conditions. I don't have that background.
yeah, I was just thinking that's a very long drive, and I didn't know. Usually, we got somebody that questions about the fire department. I don't see any pull-offs or any, notations that way. But I just didn't know about that.
Well, that's a good point. That provision of the law did come into place since 2015, Patrick. That'd be a good notation that it should be checked and any pull-off should be delineated if it's, the road should be flushed out a little bit. So I think that's a good point.
Okay, so we'll add that comment.
Yes, please.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments?
Nope.
So Steve, you want to make a motion to that effect of the local decision?
So moved.
So moved. Mal, is there a second?
I'll second.
Rick seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion's carried.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next is the Village of Philmont, 22041, the Village of Philmont Village Board. It's proposed adoption of proposed local law number 1 of 22, the local law amending the code of the Village Philmont to add chapter 148 to regulate short-term rentals. This is a map of the zoning that you will, I'll be able to point out the zoning districts where they will be prohibited and permitted. It amends chapter 160 zoning attachment table 2 permitted uses and special permits, adding the use short-term rental. They would be permitted in the RLD, H1, H2, and H3 districts. So the rural zoning district is the pale yellow. The RLD is the cantaloupe color, and the hamlet districts are the neon green, the celery to the light turquoise here. So it would be permitted in all of those zoning districts, and then not permitted in the RHD, M, M2, GB, C, RSC, which are the other colors. So it's darker blue, the purple, the darker turquoise, this other brown, and the magenta. It would not be permitted. So this is Route 217, Main Street. So that is the general business. They would not be permitted in that area here, okay? So chapter 148 short-term rental includes the addition of definitions, lodging establishment that include to summarize, overnight accommodations, including hotels, motels, and inns. The second definition is for short-term rental, which is rental of a residential dwelling unit or accessory structure approved for occupancy, including house, apartments, living accommodations, multiple dwelling units in whole or in part, rented less than 30 consecutive days through Airbnb platforms, etc. It will not include trailers, tents, campers, barns, garages, sheds, or other structures not permitted and approved by the building inspector for occupancy. Section 148.3, rental registration, STR permitting. It must obtain the applicable review by the planning board and comply with Chapter 57 of the code, which is the tenancy registration and certificate of occupancy, which requires registration with an inspection by the building inspector for rental property, and it is valid for 1 year. Section 148.4 supplemental regulations include site plan and a floor plan must be submitted to scale, which would include identifying the lot, the area available for the short-term rental use, and then other submission requirements include address, number of dwelling units, number of bedrooms, the occupancy limit, parking areas, fire protection, exits, the certificate of occupancy, any outdoor recreation areas, fencing, screening, and proposed lighting. You must also provide a contact person that would be able to respond within 1 hour of being contacted. The property must be for residential purposes only. The planning board review, it must include identifying that the occupancy not exceed the certificate of occupancy limit and that it be a traditional occupancy for the zoning district. The short-term rental use not exceed the limits of the residential use and occupancy, would not cause disturbance to the neighbors. And if it does cause disturbance more than one time per year, would be potentially subject to penalties that would be considered a violation. The penalty section include that they would be punishable by a fine of a maximum of $500 or imprisonment for a maximum of 15 days, and as the other penalties as set forth in Chapter 57 of the Code of the Village. Can you find any countywide impact from this? Couple of comments. Number one, permitted uses suggest adding a description for the symbol. There's an asterisk P in table 2. But there isn't a description for what that asterisk means, if it's the planning board review or so, suggesting they add a notation to the table. And also note that the table is part of the zoning and that's not identified in this proposed law. So that leads to the second comment that the village code suggests that they review the proposed law, Chapter 148 section numbers and references to the existing village code for agreement. So just those two comments.
Patrice, how do they determine occupancy? I mean, I know from a building standpoint, we rate everything by bedroom and there's no actual per person. But it says you can't increase the occupancy from what it's approved.
The certificate through the certificate of occupancy that they have to obtain with the building inspector based on the type of structure, the zoning district, and the the construction type.
Okay, so
building inspector.
When you get, so they're gonna have to pull a permit for this short-term rental, and they go in.
Yeah, that's a separate provision in their law, chapter.
Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah,
Chapter 1.
Because like I say, from a building standpoint, it's always been a number of bedrooms and.
Yeah, it's another local law. It's local law number 1 of 2020, and it's tenancy registration and certificate of occupancy,
Okay.
and it's Chapter 57 in the village code.
Good. That would be confusing otherwise. Anybody got any other questions or comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Patrick so moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Steve seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have Mallory in the house now.
He's muted though.
I guess that answers the question whether he was coming or going.
At least he
Well, I
knows.
was coming here and going from another thing, so we're going both.
Well, I appreciate you joining us.
So there, that's all I have.
Okay, so you guys received notice of the Planning Federation has the classes down Hyde Park. There's also sessions up in Canandaigua, and there's one gonna be up in Lake Placid in October. If you go to what Tree sent you, you can see what the courses are for the Hyde Park. There's Mark Shackner doing ethical considerations, planning and zoning. You've got municipal review for religious projects, the short-term rentals, and active transportation matters, which is active transportation is considered any self-propelled mode of transportation or human powered. So that's what's going on at Hyde Park on September 13th. If anybody's interested, they should contact the Planning Federation. Let's see, Patrice was drafted quite the nice letter for us to send to, for those of you who weren't at the meeting last month. The concerns were expressed by those of us on the board there of the solar panels, the solar, projects taking up prime agricultural land, and we thought it should be brought to the Board of Supervisors' attention. Patrice put together a very nice letter and package with the map that the planning department has been really doing a nice job on working on. And as well as there was a resolution there too, right, Patrice?
No resolution. No, the resolution, that was not, it was just a,
Reference thing.
we had talked about that and I sent that to you. I thought that you wanted to see that. So that was
Oh,
the
okay.
resolution that the Board of Supervisors adopted in opposition to in support of the town of Copic, in opposition to the Hecate project. So
Right,
that
that was separate though, right?
was just related, but that project is not subject to local review, nor would it be referred to the county planning board, but it is a very large project that will be solar on prime ag land.
So the letter was drafted last week and is going to be delivered to Chairman Morrell at that time. Let's see, what else we got, Patrice? Anything?
I don't have anything.
We don't know about the training for Department of State in October?
Not yet. Not
November?
yet.
Okay, not yet. Okay. I don't know. I think that might be it, guys. Anybody else have anything to bring before bring before this illustrious board?
There might be a record, time record.
Yeah. Number 2. Okay, so if anybody nothing to bring before this illustrious board, we'll stand adjourned at 6:49 in case it comes up for the record. Have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of the summer, guys.
You too.
You too.
Thanks.
Take care.